Hey, it is 12 noon on Friday, which means it's time for this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Christmas. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. Every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to help you mastermind to grow your real estate business. And today, what we're talking about is your sales system. Because if you go out into real estate, or really any profession for that matter, without clear instructions of, hey, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, and you don't have a system like that in place, you're going to get pulled in every which direction possible. When you don't have guidance and proper direction of which way it is that you need to go, you get lost. And when you're lost, you struggle to get deals in the first place, let alone get them closed. And this is an important part about real estate. I mean, no one's getting the real estate license just to have the real estate license. They want to make some money. And regardless of how much money it is that you want to make, if you just want to close one or two deals, or you want to be closing deals every single day, there needs to be a system in place so you can predict what your business is going to be like. You know, you do more of this, you're going to get more output. You put more input, you're going to get more output, but you got to have that system in place. And we're going to help you flesh out that system today on this week's episode of State of Real Estate. If you have questions about any part of this, what we're talking about today, we are live. You can live chat those. I'm going to have the Facebook and YouTube as well as Success Center chats loaded up here. So if you have questions, send them in, and we'll try to get those answered as best we can for you to help you get a sales system so you can get out there and start cranking out the dollars. So I got a great show for you today. I'm super excited to bring it to you. I'm John Christmas. You're watching State of Real Estate.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. Again, every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we do this live. We come to you to help answer your questions and really give you some direction it is that you could go into place with. So, I already got some comments coming in over on Facebook. Getting the YouTube loaded up right now. Christopher Shishino, Sugar Sand Homes has officially partnered with Berkshire Hathaway and Love and Life. Great. Yeah, awesome. Awesome news. You guys got any wins this week? I want to hear about them as well, because you know what gets me excited? You guys being successful. That's the whole point that I'm here on Fridays. Yeah, we want you to know about Tampa School of Real Estate, so you come take courses with us. But look, we can just go spend money on advertising, do YouTube ads or things like that. I don't need to be here every Friday to get your business. This is here primary reason to help you guys out, to help make you successful, because we know when we help make you successful, you're going to help make us successful. You're going to send people that are looking to get their license, post-licensing our way. That's our plan. That's what we're doing here. But look, we can only help you guys make you successful if you kind of interact with us, if you drop some comments in there of what it is that we can help you out. So you guys got any wins this week? Anything it is that you're celebrating? You closed a deal this week? Put that in the comments. You got something closed and you got your first client, you got your first lead, whatever it is. Let us know in here what it is that you guys are doing so we can kind of tailor this episode to you guys that are tuning in and your business. Let me just get the YouTube chat loaded up over here as well. Alrighty, so the system. Again, you got to have a system in place. And this system, look, I'm not talking about you got to be like tech savvy or anything like that. This doesn't have to involve a computer at all. You can break this down to just having a pen and paper, but there needs to be systems in place. So first things first, we got to define what it is that you want to go towards, because you're going to have different systems, we're going to use this word other than system, although I want you to know that word system, because that's all this is. This is just a series of events that we're carrying out in a certain sequence to get us the results it is that we desire. But we're going to be talking about this in a term that is more common with with sales, and that's a pipeline. So a pipeline is essentially a system. It's our process. It's our steps that we take a lead into to turn it into a closing. And these pipelines, there's ultimately, yeah, there is a greater entire pipeline of your business that has multiple paths depending on whether you're dealing with a buyer or a seller, or this is somebody that wants to sell but they're kind of still thinking about being ready to sell, and so on and so forth. So we've got to start out small. We got to start out with small pieces and build this into the larger picture. So we've got to first ask the question of, okay, what is our goal? What ultimately is our goal? And if there's something it is that you guys are having trouble with and trying to figure out what it is that you do, drop that in the comments so we can take a look at that and we can try to figure out and get you guys a pipeline. If this is something like, hey, I've been trying to get for sale by owners to try to list their property with me, and the reason why these systems and pipelines are so important is because almost no one is going to do business with somebody that just randomly calls them or shows up at their door and all of a sudden that the stars align perfectly. We're almost never in the right place at the right time, but what we can do is we can stick around until we are in that right place at that right time. That's the magic formula really for all of this stuff here. So it's really systems of follow-up that we're going to have, and you could really break this down to every little step. There should be do this, do this, do this, do this. And we're just going to be doing this on the whiteboard today. Look, there's tons of CRM systems out there, email automation systems, all kinds of tools that are out there. There's a whole industry, multiple industries of tools that are designed to help realtors do their job. But look, the problem is, especially if you're new to having systems, is you have no idea what's going on because these systems are so powerful. So you got to start out first and foremost just with a good old pen and paper. If you got a whiteboard, you throw it up on your whiteboard as well. Do just something so you can kind of start to detail out, okay, I got to do this, and then I've got to do this, and then I've got to do this. And then what that does is it allows so you can see how you could use these tools, these contact management systems, these email automation systems. It shows you how you could take these tools and now take your pipeline, your flow, your system, and use these tools to help automate or process or keep track of your pipeline. So like again, if you guys have anything it is that you've been struggling with, something it is that you've been trying to accomplish but you really haven't been able to crack the code, as they say. Look, if you go buy something from, let's say, IKEA, or let's just say IKEA, you go buy a dresser from IKEA or something, and it comes in this little tiny box, and there's 1,000 parts it is that you've got to put together. I'm the person who, I'm usually pretty good with that type of stuff, and I could probably figure something out without looking at the instructions, but whenever I do that, let me tell you what happens. I put something on backwards, and I got to go back and take it apart, and it ultimately takes longer than it would have if I just had done it correctly in the first place. So you look at the instructions, you look at basically some sort of guide, and that's what your pipelines, your flows, your systems are. Because the people it is we deal with on a day-to-day basis, they're all going to be different. But at the same time, they're also similar in certain ways, and what it is that we're trying to accomplish with them, what it is that we need to communicate with them. So let's go through with that for sale by owner. Let's say that you're contacting for sale by owners. And so why would you contact a for sale by owner? Just in case you're new to this type of stuff. And again, if there's something in particular that you're trying to figure out, crack the code on, drop it in the comments so we can help you out with that. But let's say you're trying to contact a for sale by owner. So you're trying to contact a for sale by owner to get them to list the property with you, to take on a listing. It's a great source of listings. Now the problem, you have to understand, okay, what does the for sale by owner want? What they want is to sell their property. They want to sell their property. We can help them sell the property, but now what do we have to do? How do we make that connection? We have to show them how not only it is that we can help them, but we're necessary for them to get the property sold at the highest and best price in the quickest amount of time possible. And them doing it on their own, they don't have the same professional expertise it is that we have. So that's ultimately what it is that we need to convey with a for sale by owner. So let's say step one in our process. And again, this isn't something completely set in stone. Our business evolves. We pick up on things. So we want to have this formula in place, because until you have these systems and formulas in place, you will not be able to grow your business. You have to have these systems and formulas in place if you want to be able to scale your business. If you want to be able to build a real estate team, there needs to be systems in place. And look, there's no one-size-fits-all type of solution either. It's really what's different that sets you apart from your competition. But you got to keep track of what works and what doesn't work. And you constantly tweak this system, this pipeline, this process to make it more effective. So let's say step one, we call. We call this for sale by owner, say, hey, my name is John Carissimo with ABC Realty. I see that you have your property listed on the market for sale. I've got some buyers that might potentially be interested in this property, but I need some more detail on the property. Can you answer some quick questions for me? Now, what I just said right there, that phrasing, that word track, that script, whatever it is that we want to call it, that was actually just something I've rattled off the top of my head, but that's because I've been doing this for years. I could rattle that stuff off the top of my head. And even if you can rattle that off the top of your head like that, still, you want something on paper. You want a script to read off of when you make these calls, so that way in case something crosses your mind and distracts you, you're not, hey, this is John Christmas with ABC Realty, and, oh, wait, did I turn off the oven this morning? Crap. I'm sorry here. What was I saying? You don't want that to happen. And you get distracted like that, that could very easily happen. And what's going to happen then is you're going to lose all confidence in your calling abilities. And if they don't think that you can even make a simple phone call, why would they hire you? They don't want to hire a real estate agent in the first place, which is why they're trying to save money and sell the property for sale by owner already. So you got to be on point when you make these calls. And the only way you do that is, number one, you have a script. So we might have to, some things it is that we have to do to be fully prepared for this type of stuff here. So number one, write a script. And this doesn't have to be perfect, because again, this is going to be a changing, ebbing, flowing process that you're going to refine as you start to learn what works, what doesn't work. You should maybe say this instead. You'll pick up some new things. So just get something simple on paper. You don't even have to worry about typing it up. If you've got atrocious handwriting that yourself can't even read, then yeah, maybe spend 30 seconds to type this up so you could actually read it. But look, don't overcomplicate this. All you need is to have something on paper that you're able to read off of to keep you on track, to keep giving you because you're ultimately testing to see if this works. And how do you test to see if something works if it's slightly different every single time that you do it? There's no way to test it if it's slightly different every single time. You have to be consistent with what it is that you're saying to really understand whether it doesn't work or you maybe just haven't called enough people yet. So you write your script. You get something, some phrase that you want to put out there. You write it down so that way you've got it on paper. And look, after one call, you might say, God, that sounded terrible. I need to go back to the drawing board, rephrase this. Make a couple quick edits, make another phone call, see if that's any better. If it's better, okay, well, let's try it again, and let's try it for a couple of phone calls. Then maybe we want to tweak it a little bit more. And eventually we're going to find something that actually works. So number one, we're calling. And in order to do that, we've got to have a script. We've got to have an intention. So what's an intention? An intention is what you intend to do, what you want to do. What are you trying to get out of this phone call? Because if you're just calling to introduce yourself, that's a terrible intention. You shouldn't be calling to introduce yourself, because you don't get business off of introductions. You get business off of the closed deals. But you got to have an intention. And again, the intention you might have to kind of reshape. And maybe you're asking some questions. So you've got some questions. In your script, you've got to have some questions. You've got to get them to warm up to you a little bit. And maybe one of the questions you ask is, how long have you had the property on the market? You ask them that question, they say, oh, it's been on there for 2 months. Really? 2 months? I'm surprised this hasn't sold yet. And you're pretty reasonably priced for what it seems. I haven't seen the property in person yet, but it seems like you're reasonably priced. I'm surprised you haven't sold the property yet. Look, what I would like to do, and I know you guys are trying to save money, but look, if I could show you how I could get the property sold and still net you the same amount it is that you'd want as if you did not use me, would you at least make an appointment with me? Would you at least give me the opportunity to see if that's a possibility? Would you give me that chance? No? But look, I don't know if you caught me here. Look, I just want to see if I could get you the same amount of money that you're trying to get right now, but actually get the job done. With my marketing skills, my professional expertise, I might be able to sell the property at a higher price so I could cover my commission. You guys can still net the amount it is that you need to get out of this property, but I just want to make an appointment to see if that's even possible, because quite frankly, if that's not possible, I don't want to put you guys in a position where you're having to pay me and you're not able to walk away with the money it is that you need to walk away from the sale. Does that sound fair? Yes, that does? Okay, great. What time works best for you? Because the intention here, it should always be an appointment. Our intention is to get an appointment, to get in the door. No business for real estate gets closed over the phone. There's some businesses where you could make a phone call and you could close a sale over the phone. But in real estate, where you're talking about a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 commission that they're potentially having to pay, that's not a deal you're going to close over the phone. Maybe, I don't want to say it's not possible, because it is possible, but you're probably going to need to be there face-to-face with them, to put your hand in their hand, to get face-to-face, belly-to-belly, whatever it is that you want to call it. And that's where you want to set these appointments. You want to get the appointment so you get out there. Now, let's leave that there. So step one, make the phone call. We have our script. We have our intention of what we want to get out of this. And again, we might have to tweak some of these as they go. The intention of the appointment. So the way I presented that right there is, hey, look, I want to come meet you. I want to see the property. If they say, well, can't you tell us over the phone if that's a possibility? Unfortunately, I can't. And that's where you want to write these things down, these objections that they have to your appointment. Because, look, that's your goal. So this is really a funnel, a pipeline of itself. You're just this one step that you're making the call with your script, and the output, the goal here is to get the appointment. And nothing else matters until we're able to get that appointment. So we have our script that we're going through. We ask them their questions, and we try to have that intention of the appointment. Look, I just want to come out there. I got to see the property. I can't tell you without this, and that's why Zillow's estimates are usually wrong, because they don't have a professional out there actually with boots on the ground looking at the property. That's what I need to come out there and do, and then I want to just go over the numbers with you guys real quick. See what it is that you have in equity of the property, to see how much it is that you need to net for your next property, and then see if it's an even possibility that you guys are able to work with me. Now, what I'm doing there now, this is a little bit more advanced. You got to start out with just having this basic system, but what I'm doing there basically is saying, hey, I might not even be able to service you. I'm willing to come out there even knowing that I might not be able to service you. And what that does is it takes that, it helps them put their guard down a little bit, because they see, okay, well, he's not coming out here to close us. He's coming out here to see if he could even help us in the first place. That sounds like, okay, yeah, that's fair. Now we move on to step two. So step two is our appointment. And again, our intention here was to really move them to that next step, to get the appointment. Now, for our appointment, so we schedule our appointment. You make sure you have it scheduled on a calendar or something, so you just don't show up to the appointment, because there's one way I could guarantee you're not going to get their business, and that's you don't show up to the appointment. So number one, show up. Easy enough. And when you're there in person and you're able to carry yourself professionally, even if you do kind of trip over yourself a couple times, you will still probably be able to get the business. Now, there's going to be times when you can't. There's going to be times when they're not there. It doesn't mean the deal is dead. It just means the deal hasn't happened yet. And that's where we'll talk about kind of the follow-up systems and things like that as well. So we set our appointment. We get to our appointment. Now, what do we need at the appointment? So we need to show up prepared, because if we show up and we don't look prepared, then we're in trouble. What do we need for the appointment? Well, we need, again, another script. Until you are professional and experienced enough with your scripts where you could read them off the top of your head without having them in front of you, and you're able to improvise in a way where you don't necessarily need that exact script right in front of you. Now, this script is not to be taken with you on the appointment. And if it is, don't look at it at the appointment. Or if you are looking at it, just make it not obvious that you're looking at a script of words to say to them. And what that means is you've got to practice the script. And that's why step one is good, because it allows you to read directly off the script. So it kind of warms you up for now where you're actually there face to face, and you can't have that script right in front of you reading off of it. So this is where you absolutely want to practice this. Practice in front of a video camera, put your phone in selfie mode, and then pitch to yourself on the phone. And then go back and watch it and see what it is, and ask yourself if you would buy from you. because you should be getting goosebumps. That's how good you want to get, that you give yourself goosebumps when you watch that video of you pitching your script. So you go through this, and again, you want to be prepared. So for things that you're going to need for this, and this is why you want to have this systemized out, because as you start to grow your business, this is something where you could maybe bring in an assistant for. You bring in an assistant to pull comps. You teach them what to look for, and you say, okay, I'm going to this address here, give me all the comps for this address. Log into the MLS, get all the comps for this address. Now, until you're able to hire an assistant, that's something you have to do on your own. But that's the benefit of these systems here. This is, again, if you want to scale and grow your business, you need to have this system in place, because otherwise they're going to constantly be coming to you and saying, well, what do you want me to do? What do I do now? Whereas if you say, okay, going on an appointment for this address, they should know what to do. They should have basically a checklist that's part of your pipeline, your business system here of what needs to be done. And again, this is your instruction manual for your business. So you show up and you're just not feeling it that day, you go back, read your instructions, okay, I've got to do this, then I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. And trust me, I don't care how long you've been in business, there will be days where you feel lost. You feel like, what am I supposed to do? If you don't have a list, that's going to happen more often than not. But if you have a series of things it is that you need to do, and you develop a rhythm and a routine, then you'll always have something to do whenever it is that you go to work. Because if you're going to work, if you're going into your office, or you have your home office, if you're trying to accomplish things and you're just sitting there and you're kind of browsing through Facebook, or you're checking emails to see who wants to sell you what, that's where you're not giving yourself the guidance that you need to be successful. You got to have this system in place. So you have the comps pulled for this. So you've got the things it is you could go over. And maybe whatever tools or what else it is that you need. But again, now, what is our intention? Our intention here is to get a deal. So with this, I would go into the appointment and say, hey, look, my intention today is to show you how I could get the property sold, to show you how much money it is that you would net after paying my commission, after paying all the appropriate closing cost, and then show you the dollar amount it is that you'd be able to walk away with. And if that's an agreeable amount to you, then I'm going to ask for your business today. Does that sound fair? Now, going into this, the for sale by owner, they don't really know what to expect. They said, okay, yeah, you're coming here to kind of see if this is a possibility. Now, I didn't lie about that, because again, what I just said is I'm going to show you the dollar amounts it is that you're going to be able to net, to show you what's possible for getting the property sold, and if the numbers are agreeable with you, I'm going to ask for your business. And then we review the numbers. Is this how much money it is that you need to walk away with? No, you need more than that? Okay, well, tell me a little bit about what it is that you're going into, because just what's going to happen here as you go through the closing costs and all the stuff that you pull from net sheets and the calculators you get from title companies to figure out how much net they would get from their property, the same thing we could do for when they're looking to buy a property. So maybe we start talking about the next sale that they're going into. Say, well, tell me a little bit about where it is that you guys are looking to move to. Are you staying local, or are you moving out of state? Oh, we're moving to, we want to move to this area here. We've got this property it is that we found. Okay, great. Do you have a contract on it yet? No? Okay, well, let's take a look at that and figure out how much money it is that you need to get into this property. Because again, we're the professional. We're here to show them that whether or not the numbers will work. That's what we've got to do. We've got to make the numbers work. If we can't make the numbers work where they're able to get the money for what it is they need it for. Look, they're selling their house to move to another house, they need that money for the down payment of their property. Now, I've been in situations before, lots of transactions where the seller, when they're selling, all they're thinking about is getting the most amount of money out of their property, which is understandable, but what happens is a lot of times they end up being unrealistic of the money it is that they want to get out of their property. We're here to help them be realistic, to help them understand the actual facts and figures. So I've, again, lots of times had the seller where, again, they're just wanting the most amount of money. That's probably most of the time dealing with sellers. They're just trying to get the most amount of money possible out of their property. But then when we start looking at where it is that they're moving to, it starts to become more real what that money is actually for. When they're just trying to get the most money possible, it's not real at that point. They're just making it up. They're making up a price. And That's not what we want to do. We want to find out how much they actually need to what our break-even point is. And this is something that we should be talking about before we even ask for their business. We should go through all of these numbers to see what it actually is, to see if they're comfortable with it. Because look, here's what's going to happen. If they're comfortable with the numbers, then they're going to use our business. Unless maybe there's some sort of other objection, maybe they're wondering about our expertise or anything like that, then maybe we overcome that stuff. But again, with a for sale by owner, you've got to understand from the beginning what it is and why it is that they're trying to do what it is that they're doing. Why it is that they're trying to do it on their own, because they don't want to pay us as a real estate professional. It's either two things. Number one, they just simply don't want to. They're just being cheap about it. They don't want to pay a professional, which means they don't see the value in us. So that's one option. So there's two reasons why somebody does for sale by owner. They don't see the value in us, number one, or number two, they can't afford the value. Those are our two options. Number one, they don't see the value in us, or number two, they can't afford the value of us. Those are the only two things why somebody would try to sell their property for sale by owner. So that's what you're up against. You've got to figure out if it's either A, that they don't see the value in you, or option B, that they can't afford the value, that they can't afford to pay the commission. And that's maybe what we're looking at. Maybe we could negotiate with them a slightly lower rate to make the numbers work, and so that we still get the business and we're able to help out the client. And if we can't, maybe that's where we could explore maybe some sort of short sale scenario or something like that. Because that's the two options that we have. They either don't see the value in us, number one, or number two, they can't afford the value in us. If their mortgage balance is $250,000 and their home is maybe worth $260,000, that's a situation where they really can't afford the value it is that we offer. And that might be where they have to pay out of pocket for our services, rather than from the equity it is that they would get from the property, because there really isn't equity there to even cover the closing costs and our commission. So that's where we've got to look at this. And we've got to figure out which boat it is that they're in. And depending on what it is, that's where we need to go through. And to find this out, that's where we start getting these numbers of, okay, how much, what is the mortgage balance? Maybe there's a step 1.5 here. And again, this is, as we're going through this, and look, this is something that I have done before, but I'm not reading off anything it is that I prepared in advance. I want to make this just like you guys are here, where you might not have anything on the board already or on your paper already, and you're just trying to figure this out. So step 1.5, prepare the client. So on your phone call, when you make that initial call for them, after you set the appointment, great. I'm going to go ahead and send you an email with the documents and is that you guys need to have. If you could get those to me beforehand, that would be great. It would make our appointment go a lot smoother, and I won't waste a lot of your guys' time while I'm there. So ideally get that information to me ahead of time. The information is that I would need is your most current mortgage statement, whatever your most recent mortgage statement is, so we can see the balance there. If you where it is that you're looking to move, all these things it is that we want in advance, so we could do these numbers. So we could run this all in our calculators in advance and show it prepared with the paperwork, so we could show them what the net amounts are and so on and so forth once we figure out, okay, this is what the value of the property actually is. So again, this will become much more elaborate. You got to start with something. Don't worry about having the perfect system in place beforehand. Try to figure out just some basic steps. Go out there and say, oh, well, we needed this. Okay, well, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's add this step in here. Let's do this. And then what's going to happen is you're going to have a great system in place over time that's been tested, that's been vetted, that's been figured out that, okay, if I do this, this, and this, it results in the sale. But you got to start with something. So start figuring out these systems. Everything it is that you're doing that's a day-to-day task that's going to result in business, you want to have a system for, so you're not figuring this out. You're not reinventing the wheel every time it is that you're trying to get a deal or close a deal. And this is from everything. So moving into, let's say we get their business, they sign off on our listing agreement at the appointment. Then maybe we transition into now what we have to do now that we have the listing. Okay, great. I've got to get a photographer out there. I've got to have my administrator put it in the MLS. Or if we don't have an administrator yet, then we're putting it in the MLS. It's got to go in the MLS. We do this, 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 and this. Then it's on the market. We schedule an open house. We do this. You want to have these systems in place. Look, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to go through some other pipelines here. So stick with us. I'm John Christmer. You're watching State of Real Estate.
Have you seen what's going on in Tampa?
If
you're looking to get in on the real estate action that's going on in Tampa right now, we're who you need to talk to. We can help you get your real estate license, start your real estate career. We're here to assist you for the life of your real estate career. Give us a call. Phone number is 813-928-0106, or check us out online at tampaschool.com.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Chrismo. Every Friday we come to you live to help you mastermind to grow your real estate business. I love Fridays because we do this. We're here to help you become successful. What we're talking about today is building out your business systems, having systems in place that you follow that system, you know you're going to have results from that system. So what we went through before we took the first commercial break here was the for sale by owner process. If you're trying to solicit leads from people who have listed their property and don't want to use us, again, it's one of two reasons. They either can't afford us or they don't see the value in us. They can't afford the value or they don't see the value. Our system is designed to figure out which one it is and then go down that path based on which one it may be. If they can't afford us, that's maybe where it's a short sales type of situation. And look, even if we don't want to do the short sale ourselves, we maybe refer it out to somebody who is an expert in short sales, who deals in short sales. And short sales is where you're selling it for less than what is owed on the mortgage. And that's a situation where if they can't afford us, it's probably because the mortgage takes up so much value of the property. And that's, again, where we're maybe in a short sale situation there. But I don't want to spend the whole episode talking about for sale by owner. Look, we could go on all day talking about building out a system for a for sale by owner, really perfecting it. But look, what's going to work best? And I want to bring up a comment we got over on YouTube from Jeff Doris. So Jeff Doris asked the question, does anyone else hate scripts? I'll answer yes to that question, but only if it's a little bit more specific. I hate scripts that don't work. And I take it, Jeff, you've gone through some scripts that don't work or that don't feel personal to you. Look, if a script works, if a script makes money, how can you hate something that makes you money, that's accomplishing your goals? How do you hate something like that? And you can. Look, so the purpose of the script, when you're first starting out, when you're first going through this script, it's to keep you on topic. It's to make sure you get the points across that you need to make so you can get to the intention it is that you have in the phone call, in the appointment, or whatever that may be. And look, you're going to evolve where you don't need a full script start to finish. You're eventually going to get to the point where you just need certain phrases or certain word tracks out of that script. And you can kind of improvise the things that are in between. But look, this is why it's important that you record yourself, because you'd be surprised how often it is that you say that you say or something like that. And look, I'll be honest with you, I'm guilty of it as well. Not that often though. You probably watch me and you're like, wow, he's great at speaking. And that's because I make a point to be great at speaking. And I practice speaking every single day. But not just speaking to people, but monitoring what it is that you're saying. And by recording, I mean, you've probably seen tons of videos of me before. I watch those same videos to say, man, that sounded terrible. I should say this instead. Or, oh, look, I said, why did I say that? And it's things like that that you don't even notice when you're in the moment, when you go back and watch yourself. And that's why it's so important to do that right there and have recordings of yourself so you can kind of see and hear what it is that you're saying and doing. So that's the importance of the script. And look, Jeff, I challenge you, look, if you've had scripts that you don't like, I would go through and revise those scripts. Make it something it is that you like. Take what it is that you normally say, and look, there's going to be, it's not something where you're just going through line by line and you can't alternate from any words that are on there. That's not the point of this. It's there to help keep you on topic, to make sure you get the points across it is that you need to make, and get to that necessary intention. So for example, so with videos and whatnot, movies, they're usually done with scripts and whatnot. When we do State of Real Estate, I'm not reading off a teleprompter or anything like that. That's all coming off of here. But that's because this is a very interactive type of scenario. And I've spoken lots. When I first started speaking in front of crowds, I would make sure I had some sort of script or speech or something prepared so I knew what to say. And look, when we do our course videos, when we do our more in-depth content that's to the point, that's where I am using a script, because I need to make sure I hit those points in a concise and clear manner. Because look, if you're not being clear and concise in any aspect, you're wasting not only their time, but your time as well. So that's the point of scripts. And look, Jeff, I would challenge you to say that you did not like those scripts it is that you're doing. So it doesn't necessarily mean all scripts are bad, but to make a script that works. Because if a script doesn't work, yeah, I hate it too. I hate it so much I'll change it and make it better and actually make it work. And then when it does work, okay, great, I love it. And it's there to be another tool. All of these tools it is that we have, we don't always need to use every single tool that's at our disposal. So that's just another tool that's there to help us make ourselves successful. Look, if it doesn't make you successful, don't use it. If it's something that could make you successful, tweak it until it will. So let's talk about some other situations. So I know a lot of people pay for Zillow Leads. Zillow has been emailing me nonstop. I'm not a person who advertises on Zillow, but I've been getting emails nonstop about some new program it is that they've got and how they've changed things and whatnot. So I'm sure there's a lot of you guys that are on Zillow. The reason why Zillow is big bad Zillow and as big as they are, because they rely on us. They have so many of us that pay for their advertising on their site. So let's say that you have a Zillow lead. And look, I haven't advertised on Zillow in many, many years. But from what I remember and from what I know now, the process basically does go something like, I think what they have different now is that they're vetting these leads a little bit more before they just send them to you. So here is going to be a suggested system. And you build this out as it is necessary. So, again, with Jeff's situation, Jeff found himself not liking scripts because he probably had some bad scripts. He had scripts that didn't fit him. So you've got to make this personal. Again, if there's a one-size-fits-all type of solution out there, then everybody would be doing the same thing and there'd be no difference for somebody to choose one realtor over another. But that's not the case. Everyone's different. Our clients are different. Our businesses are different. Our markets are different. So we've got to tailor our system directly to that. So let's say that we're trying to, we get buyer leads. Oh yeah, look at that thing. Switched our markers over on the break. So we've got a buyer Zillow lead that comes in. Man, that is crisp. Oh, we got to use new markers more often here. So buyer Zillow leads. So what happens in a nutshell, basically, and I might be wrong with some of the details of this here, but they fill out a contact form on Zillow and it pushes that lead. I think their new system now is, again, they maybe call them and try to do some stuff with them. I'm not the most familiar with their new system because, again, I don't personally use Zillow, but eventually you get this contact info. So step one, and step one happens whether you like it or not, against your time, because these leads just come in. So these leads come in whenever that is that people are online. So step one, lead comes in. Now what's our intention when the lead comes in? What is our intention when this lead comes in to us? We're not there to answer questions about this so the intention is always to try to get this to the next step. Now there's going to be other things it is that we do on this call. We might answer some questions on the call. We might do some other things, but the intention is what we need to happen with this phone call to make it a successful phone call. And that intention is always, again, to move it to the next step, which the second step is always the appointment. Again, you want to get face-to-face, so our intention is to set an appointment. Now, here's where most people, in my opinion at least, go wrong with Zillow leads. So the idea with Zillow is people are on there searching for properties for sale. And if it weren't for how complex real estate is, people wouldn't need us. That's why we still exist, even with as big and huge and powerful that Zillow is. why we're still part of this system, because this is a complex process. And they're probably not going to buy that property it is that they sent you a lead off of. So you've got to understand, just like when we were understanding the for sale by owner, that there are one or two reasons they either don't see the value in us or they can't afford the value of us. With a buyer Zillow lead, what it is that they're doing, we got to understand what they're doing and what their thought process is to match up our process to be able to capitalize on this lead. So the person coming in, they're searching on Zillow and they want to see this house. That's why they filled it out. They want more information and they want to see it. That's why they fill out these contact forms on Zillow. So if it weren't for the complexities and whatnot, they would just go to the house themselves and see if they like it and then decide if we weren't involved to go back on Zillow and start searching for properties. And now there's tons of complaints that agents have about Zillows. And these complaints are just problems, but we're here to solve problems. That's how we make a business out of that. One of the common complaints about Zillow is that they have outdated data. That somebody's on there and they request information on a property that was already sold. So here's what will happen if a lead comes in and they're asking about 123 Main Street, which sold a month ago, but for whatever reason Zillow it's still on there. They haven't updated, who knows what. So they call in about this lead on 123 Main Street, and you say, "Oh, unfortunately that property already sold. I'm sorry." Okay, thanks for your time. Bye. Dead lead. Waste of $50, $100, $150. I've seen Zillow leads cost as much as $300, $400, maybe even more than that in your market. So waste of that money, of that lead that just came in because we let it go because we weren't in control. We didn't have instructions of what to do. Our goal is to set an appointment, whether that property is sold or has not sold yet. So let's talk about a little bit different way we can handle this. This lead comes in. Hey, this is John Chrisman with ABC Realty. What can I help you with today? Or if they're calling us, or I think maybe it's now where where you have to call them, maybe it sends a text message. Again, I'm not 100% familiar with this. Let's say that they're calling us and they say, however it is, we call them or they call us, and they're looking at 123 Main Street. Now, chances are we're not directly in front of a computer. And look, you don't need to be in a computer in this situation, because with these leads where they're online, any sort of online lead, Zillow, Truly, or Realtor.com, your own website, you need to contact them within 5 minutes. Otherwise, they're going to be seeking help from somebody else. And that's possible when they're online because somebody else is just a few mouse clicks away. So they don't hear back from you, they're going to find somebody else. So that's why it's so imperative that we immediately get on the phone with them. If this is a system, whether it's Zillow or any sort of online, we'll just call it, just to make it a little bit more generic. Because some of you guys might be doing Trulia, which is also Zillow, or Realtor.com leads, or Homes.com leads, or you might have your own website that's producing leads here. So whether they call us, we call them, we get on the phone, they're asking us about 123 Main Street. Now, in this case here, we're probably not in front of our computer. Yeah, maybe we have our phone with us. We can maybe look up that one single property. But look, we don't want to look up that one single property. So our goal here is, again, to get an appointment. And I want to tweak this process. And this, again, I think is where most people go wrong with the online leads. Not just Zillow leads, but any sort of online leads. Is they call about a property. If 123 Main Street was available, you take them to see that property. They don't like that property. And they say, okay, yeah, we'll call you. And they end up calling somebody else because they find another property, they submit another lead form, and now they're looking at that one property somewhere else with another agent. I think they've maybe refined that a little bit with Zillow now. That doesn't quite always work, but there's always other websites it is that they could go on and find another agent. And they don't make that, they make an association with us that we're the seller of the property. And we have to combat that. So that's, again, another thing it is that we need to know about these online leads, especially when we're associated with one single property. They called us for this one property. They're going to think that we're the person trying to sell them that property. When, yeah, if they want to buy that property, fantastic, easy sale. Chances are they're not going to want to buy that property, though, but they're going to want to buy a property. We have to make that transition from them thinking of us as the seller of the property to now thinking of us as the professional. And that's the intention of our appointment. The intention of our appointment with buyers is to show them we're on their team. To show our buyer that we're there to help them, and we could broker deals with any property it is that they want to purchase. We're not necessarily the seller of the property they called us about. If they want to buy that property, great, and you could use that exact same phrase with them. Hey, look, if you guys want to buy this property, that's fantastic. I'd love to help you out with that, but if the property's not for you, I completely understand. It's very rare that we ever have somebody call in about a single property and that's the property they end up purchasing. So I'm sure there's going to be other homes it is that we're going to need to look at. So this appointment here, skipping ahead to our next step, because we'll come back to this first step here to kind of talk about how we transition to step 2. I don't recommend that you do the appointment directly at the property they want to see, because when they do, what they're calling you about, what they want is that property. They want that property. You give them what they want, that property, right away, and it's not what they want, they're going to fly the coop on you. They're not going to end up, it's less likely that they're going to do business with you. So the appointment, you don't want to do that at the property. Ideally, you want to get them into your office. Get them into your office, say, hey, look, yeah, before we go out and see the property, I just want to go over a couple things with you guys here and make sure this one's going to be a good fit for you. We'll definitely go take a look at the property afterwards, but before we do that, before I take you guys out there, and look, I don't even want to waste your guys' time if we find out that there's a better property for you. And we're already kind of showing that we're on their team. And the goal here with the office appointment is to show them that we're on their team and ultimately get a buyer brokerage agreement signed. Because with the buyer brokerage agreement, that shows that solidifies that we're there on their team. And now there's a lot of ways you could use buyer brokerage agreements. We've done episodes before with this. You could find on our Success Center, tampaschool.com/success. But just for now, let's take the agreement, the contract out of it altogether. We're here to show them what it is that we could do for them, what it is that we expect out of them, and then matching them up with the right property. We have much more powerful tools that, as far as Zillow or any of these websites, even your own website has come along, it's nowhere near as powerful as the actual MLS of what we can access in the MLS. And maybe we do have a great website, great, let's get them using our website instead of going on Zillow or whatever that may be. But we're here to basically set these intentions of the entire transaction in the appointment, and then once we're all on the same page, then we take them to see the property. But now look, you want to have these systems in place. You want to have these systems in place here to ultimately know what that next step is. So let's say you didn't watch this episode. You don't have even this. Even having this little tidbit right here is going to help get you in the right direction. And that's our goal here. Get you out there making money so you keep your license, you come take post-licensing with us and continue education and become a customer for life, and always refer any friends and family that want their license to us. That's our intention with these shows. But the primary intention is to get you guys to be successful, because if you don't have a real estate license because you're never successful, we're not going to get any future business from you. So that's what we're here to do, make you successful. And even if you just have this little tidbit here, it's going to help you know, okay, I should do this next. Because let's say you make that mistake, or maybe it fits your business better, or they don't want to come into your office, then still get an appointment to show them the property. And look, maybe at the property, once you go through and tour it and everything, hey, if you guys have a couple minutes here, I just want to kind of go through, look at some other properties and really show what it is that I'll be doing for you guys as your realtor. That's what's called the assumptive close, because we're assuming that we're basically we have their business, that they're going to use us as their real estate professional. So we go in there, and we could do this at the house. The point is that the intention here, and this is what's most important, wherever it is that you do this, because if you don't show that you're on their team, then that's where you're going to have a very hard time progressing any further in this process here. Just looking through our comments here. So we got some just comments coming in from Jeff Dorsey. He's got some good points reiterating from this here. So point capturing leads, set the appointment. And yeah, we do want to show them the other houses. That's the point. So just in case there's any misconception or confusion about show them that we're on their team, we're here to broker the deal. We're here to show them the other properties. And the best way to do that, again, is getting them in your office, because especially if you have a nice office, you should be showing them that. There's no point in having a nice office if you're not bringing clients there. You could be working out of a broom closet if you're not bringing clients there, and they'll have no idea. But if you do have a nice office, bring them in the office. Show them some hospitality. Show them that you're on their team. Search the MLS a little bit with them, and let's find some other properties it is that we could look at. If we can look at them today, great. I'll see if we get an appointment today. If not, we'll get an appointment next week, because we got to keep this process going. We've got to keep our system in place. Once our system stops, our chances of getting their business stop as well. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to talk more about systems and how it is that we could kind of build these out to blow up our business. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, so we'll be back in the next few minutes here. Stick with us. I'm John Christmas. You're watching State of Real Estate.
Have you seen what's going on in Tampa?
If you're looking to get in on the real estate action that's going on in Tampa right now, we're who you need to talk to. We can help you get your real estate license, start your real estate career. We're here to assist you for the life of your real estate career. Give us a call. Phone number is 813-928-0106, or check us out online at tampaschool.com.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Christmas. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. Every Friday, we're here at 12 noon Eastern Time to help you build a successful real estate business. And what I would say is one of the most important aspects of being successful in real estate is knowing what to do, knowing what you should be doing to get you business. If you don't have that, you're going to really struggle trying to get business. And look, there is no really one-size-fits-all formula. A lot of the stuff even we've talked about with this kind of starts to get really specific. And there might be something it is that you find works a little bit better, but this is something great to start off with here. And you, again, tweak this and kind of figure it out to what works, but you want to have a system in place. You know, maybe you're making a recipe, you're cooking something. And you know, so I like to cook, but I'm a terrible baker. Whenever it is that I bake anything, because with cooking I like it, because cooking, if I do a little bit too much salt, you know, I could figure that out in tasting while I'm cooking. You know, baking on the other hand though, you gotta have everything right 100%. And if it's not right 100% by the time you put that cake or whatever in the oven, it's gonna come out like garbage. And you know, I don't think I've ever baked anything that's turned out great, because I'm very much a tweak as you go type of person, which you could absolutely do with cooking. And that's what happens when you're in real estate. Very much, and really most businesses for that matter, you tweak as you go. You figure out, okay, that's maybe a little bit too much of this. Maybe I do a little bit more of this, and okay, yeah, that works. But what you want to do, once you find something works, once you've got that recipe for your success, you know, how many times have you cooked something and it tasted great one time, then you tried to cook it again, and it ended up being not as good? And you know, you probably did something. You maybe put a little too much salt or a little bit too much of oil or whatever. So once you find something that works, you want to remember that. You want to have that recipe. You want to have those steps of do this, do this, do this, do this for a successful sale, like a successful deal. If you're not keeping track and having these systems that is in place, you're kind of just hoping things turn out right. Which that's the way a lot of real estate professionals, quote unquote professionals, conduct their business. They just, let's just see if this works, or let's do this today. Let's do this. I've never done this before, but let's just go ahead and try this. And that didn't work. Okay, well let's try it again here, because that's just what I remember, because it's what I just recently did. You got to have a system in place, and it's okay to tweak the system and change it to make it better, or maybe try some things out. You find out it doesn't make it better, you go back to what works, but you got to be tracking this stuff. And it all starts out with having a system in place, a very basic system in place. And again, don't spend a whole lot of time with this here. Don't try to build the perfect system because it will need tweaking. You're going to have to make changes. You're going to have to make refinements to ultimately get this to be better. And there's all kinds of, training programs out there. You might have taken some specifics out of what we were talking about today, and you might be saying, oh, well, that sounds good. That's a great idea for me to get the appointment in my office rather than just trying to get them in the house. And if you get the appointment in your office, that's fantastic. Show them the hospitality in your office. Show them that you're on their team. Show them that you're there to help them buy any home, not just that home it is that they called them about, and just watch how much smoother your business goes along that. But once you figure out that, oh my God, that's fantastic, that's great, you got to keep doing that. And when you have the system, written down or on a whiteboard or however it is that you've got this, maybe you're using some tools, some CRM system to basically maximize your business with this, then yeah, absolutely use those as well. But look, you don't have to go out and start using a whole follow-up tools and CRMs and everything like that. Those are just tools. And tools there are just there to make your job easier, but not do the work for you. They don't do the work for you. They're there to help assist you, but ultimately you've got to have your system in place. Then once you've got your system in place, you figure out how to integrate that tool to supplement your system. But look, this starts just with pen and paper, writing this stuff down. We went through 2 different examples today, very specific examples, getting Zillow and buyer leads from online, and at the beginning of the episode we were talking about getting seller leads from for sale by owners. These are great ways to find business, but there's millions of ways to get business. But whenever you're using some method to obtain business, so let's say you're spending money on advertising, whether that's Zillow or Google clicks or Facebook ads or anything like that, whenever you spend money on advertising, you don't want to just spend the money and hope it works. If you're spending the money and hope you get business because you spent money advertising, you're going to have very poor return on investment or even potentially lose money. And that's why I've said this multiple times. As a new agent, I don't recommend you go start advertising right away because you don't have systems in place that work yet. You've got to figure out your systems. Just like Jeff said earlier that he hates scripts, I guarantee you, Jeff, it was you had scripts that you didn't like, and you probably didn't like them because they didn't work. So why spend thousands of dollars in advertising to go try some scripts that you don't like, that don't work, that don't fit your personality, that don't fit your clients, that don't fit your market, only to find that out after you spent all this money on advertising? Maybe to find buyer leads, instead of doing Zillow leads, you're doing open houses. We've got a couple minutes left. Let's run through an open house example here, and let's talk about how we can maybe have a system with an open house. Because I love open houses, especially for new agents, because this gives you an opportunity to really kind of practice your sales skills, to practice all of this stuff with very minimal cost. Like I said, with Zillow leads, you might be paying hundreds of dollars a lead for these leads that you're getting on Zillow, or however it is that you're spending money on advertising. If you don't have a good system in place yet, don't waste that money. Figure out a good system that works, and now start to spend some money on advertising when you're ready to grow and scale your business. So let's say you're doing the open house. And I would say step 1 occurs before we even have the open house. And really that's scheduling the open house. There's going to be a lot of steps with open houses that you should do before the open house even occurs to make sure your open house is successful. So, and we'll keep this basic because I know we only have a couple minutes left, just so you can kind of see how we could get even deeper into this process. Those other 2 examples we given, I mean, I think we only did 2 or 3 steps for each of them, but you kind of get the idea of how you want these progressions going forward. So step 1, schedule yourself an open house. Find an open house in a good area, so on and so forth, that would be able to get some good traffic, that's easy to get to. That's ideal. We've done entire episodes on open houses, so check those out if you haven't seen them already. But number 1, you got to have an open house scheduled. Okay, perfect. Number 2, promote the open house. You don't promote your open house, you're going to get very few people, if any, at your open house. So this is where there's typically some sort of expense involved. Now, this expense can be kept very minimal, and it can actually be eliminated altogether depending on how it is you're going to promote the open house. There's a lot of ways you can promote the open house. You could make a Facebook promoted post on it. You can go door to door inviting the neighbors to the open house. And if you don't know why you'd want to invite your neighbors to the open house, go on our Success Center, tampaschool.com/success. Search open house on there and watch some of the episodes about open houses to find out why you want the neighbors at the open house. So that's another way to promote it. Maybe you have some people, some contacts that want to buy a house, but maybe they're not ready yet. Yeah, we invite them. We maybe do an evite to our contacts. Again, there's lots of ways it is that we can promote the open house. So figure out some way to promote the open house that you're getting people in there. And again, figure out the systems that work so you can replicate that process and scale your business larger. So that's step 2, promote the open house. Step 3. I'm tempted to put here, have the open house. So, I mean, we could put that, but let's talk about what we're doing at the open house. And that's capturing leads. So every person that comes in the open house, so now we're at the open house. So at the open house, your goal here is not to sell the open house. And again, if you're unfamiliar with how to really effectively hold open houses, check it out on our Success Center, tampaschool.com/success. We've got whole hour-long episodes on how to do open houses effectively. So at the open house, your goal is to capture leads, not to get the house sold. Less than 1% of houses sell as a result of an open house. So your goal is not to get the house sold. Your goal is to capture leads. Because you're going to have 2 people walking in here. There are 1 of 2 reasons they're walking in here. They're either looking for a house to buy, which is why they're considering that open house, or number 2, they're thinking about selling their house. That's why you want the neighbors in there. Because the neighbors that will show up to your open house are the ones that are curious about selling their house. Now, they might not sell today, but they're going to sell someday. And the buyers coming in there. The reason why a lot of people might say that they hate open houses is because you're going to have a lot of people that come into the open house that are not ready today. There will be those low-hanging fruits that come in there that are looking to buy a house, and they need to buy a house today, and they have not been working with a realtor, and it's your lucky day because you've got nice, easy business today, and you want to go out and have those future appointments with them. So step 3, capture leads. This should be done as soon as they're coming into the open house. There's ways to do sign-in sheets, raffle giveaways, all kinds of things like that you could use to capture their lead. Step 4 is set an appointment. Because again, less than 1% of houses sell as a result of an open house, so you're probably not going to get that lucky where you sell that house you're holding open. And that's not the point of holding an open house. The point of the open house is to capture the leads. If they're ready right now and they're wanting to look at other houses, set the appointment. Set the appointment and hey, I'm done with the open house today at 4 o'clock. You want to go check out this other house that's similar, but it matches what it is that you're looking for. In those open house episodes, we talk about kind of figuring out what it is that they want, which really it's just like when we were talking about before, showing that you're on their team. So maybe say, hey, look, I've got another property it is that I think it is that you guys are going to be interested in. Are you doing anything at 4:30 today? No? Well, great. Why don't you come down and I'll show you the house. And there's actually a couple others I'd like to show you guys as well that I think are going to better match your criteria than this house. Great. Now we've got an appointment to show more properties to them. Now, you won't get an appointment with everyone, and you really don't want an appointment with everyone, especially if they're not ready. So we're in this process, we're qualifying them, finding out how soon it is that they need to buy or sell. For the people that are further out that want to maybe sell within the next year, or the ones that really say they're not ready yet, those are the ones that are like, oh yeah, maybe a year down the road, 2 years down the road, whatever the case may be. So the alternative for step 4, we'll just call it step 5 here, is follow-up. Now this is different than the definition for your exam of follow-up. On your exam, for if you're still trying to pass your real estate license exam, remember follow-up means what you do after the sale. And there's, again, a whole set of systems and a pipeline that you have for after the sale to get repeat business and get referral business. So you got to have systems for everything, processes, instructions, recipes, whatever it is that you want to call it, a set of steps that you're going to do to really make this the best you could be. So staying in contact with them after the open house. So maybe they're one of the neighbors that comes over and they're like, yeah, we actually thought about selling, but we just decided we weren't ready yet. Once the kids graduate, we think then we're going to make the move. Okay, great. Yeah, when do the kids graduate? Oh, yeah, they've still got 2 years left. Oh, yeah, no, that's you wouldn't want to probably move them while they're still in school. They got to make new friends and all that stuff. And now we're getting on common ground with them. So yeah, you know what, but what I'll do, just so you guys are fully prepared for when you do want to sell the property, even if you do decide to make that hard decision with the kids and take them out of school before then, I'm sure you don't want to do that, but just in case, I'll send you guys a market report every month or every week or every other week or however often it is that you're going to send it to them. That's one way it is we could follow up. Maybe we send it once a month, and then every time we send it out, we follow up with a text message as well. Hey, Bill, just sent you that market report. Looks like your property went up in value this month. Congratulations. We send that over. They look at that, and we're just kind of building a relationship with them. Yeah, they're probably still not ready yet. They might actually wait until that time is up with their kids, but if that comes up beforehand, then we're there. We're ready. We've established that relationship with them. That's going to be an easy sale once it is that they're ready. Or maybe they decide, you know what? We got to capitalize on this increase right here. That's a huge increase. We can't. We're afraid that might go down in value. So we want to talk about selling the property. Boom, bingo. You'd be surprised how many people will say they're not ready yet when they might actually be ready. So it's our job to foster that relationship, and this is a great source of leads. And every lead it is that you have come in, you want to treat them like $1 million lead, because someday they will be $1 million lead. Even if they never buy $1 million house, if they buy 4 $250,000 houses, or they only buy one $250,000 house, but they refer 3 of their friends to you as well, that's 4 transactions right there. That's $1 million in revenue of total home sales there. So you want to treat every client like they're that $1 million lead, because every client should probably be $1 million lead. If you at least get a couple referrals out of them, some repeat business out of them, if you take care of them and service them like you're supposed to, they will be $1 million lead. But you got to have the systems in place, because especially with follow-up, when the business isn't right there reaching out to you, that's where most agents fall off, with not having any system in place and not doing follow-up because they don't have a system in place. If you don't have a system in place for follow-up, you're probably not going to be doing any follow-up, because you just don't know what to do, and you figure it's not worth your time because you're not getting any business today. Look, there's so many ways you want to have systems set up for your business. And again, there's no one-size-fits-all type of solution. Just get some basic sketched out. If you want to steal anything it is that I've said or showed you today, that's the point of these episodes, to help you guys out. You don't need to come up with your own original stuff if you can't figure anything out. Start with what I just told you and then build on it from there. Tweak it from there. Show me what works better. Come back on our episodes and let me know, hey, I took what you did here, but I started doing this, and my business has changed ever since then. It's been crazy. I can't even handle it. I had to hire assistants. I'm building a team now. That's what we want out of you guys. That's what we're here to do every Friday. Unfortunately, we're out of time for this Friday, so I thank you guys for tuning in and everything it is that you have contributed in the episode through your comments and sharing this with your friends and family. We greatly appreciate that here, because that shows what it is that we're doing working, and I should keep showing up every Friday. We've been doing this almost for 2 years now, these State of Real Estate episodes. We also have Ask the Instructor we do on Wednesdays. And look, if you want more videos like this, if you want to find out more about open houses or working with buyers or working with sellers or how to use these CRM systems and so on and so forth, we've got so many videos on our Success Center. Hundreds of videos at tampaschool.com/success. tampaschool.com/success. It's free. You could go on there. You don't have to pay anything for that. I've been called crazy for giving all this stuff away for free, but there's so much more to learn as well. So go in there, figure out this stuff, start making some money, and then let us know how you're successful. That's all the time we've got for this week. Go out there, be great. I'm John Chrismo. You've been watching State of Real Estate, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate.
Have you seen what's going on in Tampa?
If you're looking to get in on the real estate action that's going on in Tampa right now, we're who you need to talk to. We can help you get your real estate license, start your real estate career. We're here to assist you for the life of your real estate career. Give us a call. Phone number is 813-928-0106, or check us out online at tampaschool.com.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
They say
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate.